What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. Just hit the little subscribe button on the you know. Anyway, so I watched the Sony CES presentation last night. Oh my gosh. Just thinking about it makes me want to take a really nice, relaxing nap. Why? Because it was so boring. There's a couple of things I've noticed that Sony has done or tried to do throughout this generation. I would say at the helm of Jimothy Ryan. That is, they're trying to present Sony or PlayStation or Sony as a whole. They're trying to present themselves as what Apple used to do when Steve Jobs was there, right? Magical. Go up there with his turtleneck. Magical experience. If you listen to the language that Jim Ryan and Kenichiro, whoever the Japan CEO dude for Sony was, well, not him so much because you can't really understand him because his English is really not the greatest. But everybody else, except for Neil Blomkamp, he's just a camera fiend. He was like, I love the camera small, put it into places. But we'll talk about that in a few seconds. But they're trying to assume this position, or they're trying to assume the position of what Apple used to do. Make their customers feel magical and special by buying their products or having their products or being in their ecosystem. That's a good type of trick. It's a good con job, but ultimately you gotta have a good product. Now they have a good product, and I'm not gonna say that Sony's products are bad. Are they the best? Not necessarily. And I mean, like, as far as cameras go, they make most of the lenses, but there are other manufacturers out there that are jumping into that. Like LG is starting to make camera phone lenses. Now, I don't know if they're making the lenses themselves, but they're making the mechanisms that go into the lenses. And I think Apple's been using those for years. Anyway, the presentation was the only good part, which wasn't even 100% good, was that new controller for disabled gamers. What was it called? Accessibility controller. Okay, that's cool. A generation late, because Xbox did that last gen, right? And I think for the most part, Xbox did it better in a way. If you look at the ergonomics, right? Xbox is just like a big giant NES pad. It's got a little pad and it's got two big buttons. I'm like, yup, that's how you do it. And then the rest around, you got your 1/4 inch plugs for all your accessories. Boom. You know what I mean? Because anybody who's disabled already has these things. They have these buttons and controllers and things, whether it be for their chairs or whatever. So, you know, that's fine, whatever. And Sony's is the same, and I would say one way it's better in that it emulates all of the buttons of a DualSense for the most part. It has all the buttons, but the configuration is mind-bogglingly. I am a gamer who is abled, and I'm looking at that and I'm like, I can't even. I'm an able gamer and I can barely figure out how to. I mean, I can figure out how to use it, but it's a circle. It's like Simon Says. I'm like, wait, you're gonna press this and that? I'm like, they kind of missed the point, because if you're unable to move or to, you know, you have to be able to put your buttons, and you can, you know, with this new PlayStation controller, but it's a little weird. But I give them half a prop for coming late to the party. At least they came, you know what I mean? So that was the only promising thing. Everything else was totally, it was boring. The GT7 stuff, the Gran Turismo movie stuff, I was like, okay. And I saw the footage, I was like, all right. The thing about Neil Blomkamp's movies, and Jeff Grubb said this, so I mirror his sentiment. he said, I really don't like any Blomkamp's movies. And I'm like, yeah, I've only seen District 9. But I saw District 9 and I was like, you know what? I don't want to see Elysium. I don't want to see Chappie. I think he did Chappie too. I think he did something else. I can't remember. Now, the one cool thing I would say about the GT7 movie, as far as the camera angles and stuff, were the racing parts where they're outside the car and they have the drone shots and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that looks cool. But then Jeff Grubb and John Ochoa, they were doing the Game Mess Mornings, right? And they were talking about it, and they said, yeah, Michael Bay would have been a better director for this, because Michael Bay, and I agree 1,000,000,000%, Michael Bay shoots cars like it's porn. He shoots cars and young women like it's porn, except they're not naked, they have clothes on. But it's basically, he's really good at making stuff that's not necessarily beautiful. I don't know how he hits the lighting, he put filters on, he does something, and his movies always look good. The thing about Neil Blomkamp's movies is that they are very rough, down to earth, raw, shaky cam. And the first shot that they showed was like, I don't know if it was, I think it was an exterior shot of a car that wasn't like racing or anything. I think it was just like sitting there. And it was like a handheld shot. And I'm like, come on, son. This is Gran Turismo, you know? It's supposed to be elegant and perfect, and the perfect driving simulator, whatever the hell it's called, whatever their subtitle is called for Gran Turismo. It's supposed to be pristine and not raw. I think Neil Blomkamp is actually the wrong director for this movie. I mean, honestly, anyone, not anyone else, but like Ron Howard would have been better, because he made a racing movie, and he's a workman type of director, as far as you give him a project and he'll do it. If the material is hot trash garbage, that's not on him. He knows how to direct, he knows how to block, he knows how to do all those things, and he knows how to tell the actors how to act. But once again, if the writing is trash, then you can't really save. You can't say, oh, Ron Howard's a bad director. You can be like, well, you know what, be better writers, I guess, you know. So, but I mean, it'll be okay. I'm not hyped about it. Like I said before, Sony's movie output has been middling at best. And they have the same producers as the Uncharted movie, so like I'm like, okay, well, the hope is not there. It's like, you know, you're not giving me any hope. Hire Lord and Miller to do one of these game movies, and then we'll talk. But you know, whatever. But anyway, the rest of the presentation was just, we don't care. You're talking about your cameras, we don't care. You're talking about the stupid Honda electric car, we don't care. Most of that was we don't care. Jim Ryan comes out and he put it on thick. He put on that magic sauce real thick, and that's the problem with what Sony's doing. Sony is talking this game about magic and experience, and fall into the worlds of the creativity, all this BS. Meanwhile, yeah, we're gonna raise the price, and we're very anti-consumer. We're gonna do all the things that will stifle your creativity because you're broke. Because we want all your money. We don't care about your creativity. We're just gonna say that stuff because, you know, Apple said it and it seemed like a good idea. They're literally following what Apple did back when Steve Jobs was around, where they have a premium product, costs a lot of money, and do you get better performance off of Apple? Not really. But they fed you this fairy tale of their product, and it works for some fools, for some trolls, for some people who don't know no better. It worked, and that's the same thing that Sony's doing. They're trying to trick everybody that they're buying into a magical experience with Sony and PlayStation, and it's not really the case. It's just another product that you spend money on. Let's be real. So, you know, ultimately that's gonna fall by the wayside, because other products are gonna come out, or previous or existing products are gonna be better, you know, competition and all that, and that's already happening, and that's the Sony's kind of shaking in the boots as far as that goes. But like, I mean, I would say go watch it for yourself and be bored. I'm trying to remember what else. Oh, they talked about the Last of Us TV show. It was all. I mean, look, I understand the synergy and all that stuff, but look, I have zero faith in Last of Us series. The thing that made The Last of Us cool is it was a video game that tried to be a movie. That wanted to be a movie. Now it's a TV show that is a TV show. So what's going to happen with The Last of Us show is that the spotlight is going to be on the narrative, on the performances, on the acting. And yes, Pedro Pascal's a good actor, but the character of Joel, is he a good character? I mean, not really, because they treat him like trash. You know, if he was a good character, beloved, if you will, he wouldn't have went out the way he went out. You know what I mean? And that's what's his name's whole thing, Neil Druckmann. I mean, I've talked about it before with the shock value and all that stuff, and that's fine if that's what you want to put out there in the world as far as TV shows and video games. That's fine, and there is a market for that stuff, obviously. But that's not gonna be Spider-Man. You know, it'll never be Spider-Man. I said this before, and so they're putting a lot of their backing. They're putting a lot of faith in the Last of Us property. They're even doing the multiplayer, right? Factions. And I'm thinking to myself, how is Factions gonna be like a standalone multiplayer thing? Like, think about it, right? If it's in the world of The Last of Us, so you talk about cordyceps mushroom people and factions, so different factions fighting against each other, fighting for territory. Maybe there's a battle royale mode where there's a ring of mushroom heads closing in. I don't know. Who knows? But honestly, I'm gonna be wrong. Are they gonna have the same fidelity as far as graphics for that multiplayer? I don't know. That's kind of tricky. That's a hard thing to pull off because of the size and scope. If it's a giant open world battle royale, they should do a battle royale mode in that Factions. If they don't, then they've missed the point. You know. So there's a couple of things that are happening with that. We'll see if it's any good, but the competition is stiff. You got Destiny, which is Sony owned, so they're actually going into a realm where they bought Bungie, and so they're complaining about Microsoft buying Activision. They bought Bungie. They already bought into games and service by buying Bungie, acquiring Bungie. So why would they make more of the same to compete with themselves? They're cannibalizing the market, or they're trying to get more of the market, but they bought into the market. So I don't know, man. I really have little faith in Sony's ability to make anything but sad dad walking simulators. That's all they can do. That's all they're good at. Movie games. That's it and that's all. And you know, prove me wrong, Sony. I mean, that's your job right now. The thing is, I don't think they want to prove anybody wrong because they're too busy trying to block deals and block competition instead of actually creating compelling software and content for us gamers, for the ponies, for the dark unicorns, for the true Sony fans. And that's the thing that always puzzles me. I'm like, I am so sick of what their two-faced approach to this generation. And it is really truly Jim Ryan. I saw Jim Ryan talking and he's like, oh, magical and all this and that and oh, so beautiful worlds. And I'm like, this mother flower is full of the most shite that I've ever seen in video games. I cannot stand to listen to this fool. And it's like, okay, yes, I'm biased, but there's a reason why I'm biased because of the things he said before. So, I don't know. You know, there's always a chance that he could change his tune and actually, you know, say the things that he means and means the things that he says or whatever. But whatever, you know, I'm not holding my breath for that day. I'm just watching Sony slowly grow those cracks in their foundation of what they have built over the last generation, and it's dwindling because of the success of the Xbox Series consoles in Europe per se. Now there were numbers that came out, and it seems that PlayStation was number 3 in sales in 2022. 2022. 2022. Is that right? They were third. So Nintendo was first at 22 million, I think, units. Microsoft was second. I don't know what the number was. I mean, they were close. Let's not be. I'm not gonna say, oh, they destroyed them, but but still, the point is, Microsoft sold more Xboxes in Europe than Sony sold PlayStations last year. So what's going on? You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, there's not enough consoles. Blah, blah. I'm like, whatever. I mean, sure, you can say that, but is that what you're gonna say until forever and ever? They say, oh, we sold 30 million, but you were number 3. So I see how you do that. That's why, I'm glad Microsoft doesn't really announce their numbers anymore, because it's like, oh, the numbers weren't good, so let's not announce it this time. That's what Sony just did. They said, oh, they didn't say, oh, we sold third. We're third place seller in 2022. They said, no, we reached the milestone of 30 million units sold through. Yay! But we're last place as far as sales in Europe last year. They don't want to say that. They don't want to look bad. They don't want to lose face, but they're losing face. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you've watched that CES presentation. How bored were you in a level of scale of 1 to 10? How bored were you? How waste of time was that? And is Sony really just wasting a lot of time as far as electric cars and all that stuff? I mean, come on, what are they doing? And also, the sales reports and the Gran Turismo 7. Let me know if y'all are excited about that movie. I mean, I'm like mad about it. Sony's output has been pretty bad for a long time, so whatever. But I appreciate you guys for real, hanging in there. It's a new year, new day. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it bigger. I guarantee. I mean, it may not be tomorrow, but I am planning on making some giant moves. So stay tuned for all that good stuff. And I'll fill you in on some stuff I've been going through. I've been kicked in the face by life this past year, but it's all good because I'm still here and I'm still video gaming forever. But I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next.